Welcome to British Voice ASMR. I haven't done an ASMR video for absolutely ages, and for that I can only apologise. You may be able to tell I have moved house recently, which is partly to blame for why I have not done a video for ages. Yeah, I've been very busy, so moving house was stressful. I am now no longer in a flat in Southport. I have moved to the east coast instead. Well, not the coast, but I am now up near Durham in the northeast, and I'll be honest, I love it up here. The people are super friendly in the northeast. The weather is much sunnier and clearer than the west side of Britain. So the west gets a lot of rainfall, really. All the clouds kind of come over off the sea. And then by the time they get to the Pennines, they tend to kind of dissipate and dump all their water. So we don't get quite as, it still rains. This is still England. But it seems to rain a lot less on this side of the country, which is a bonus. We had some snow last week, which was incredible. So yeah, snow in November. Where I grew up and where I was living previously, it didn't really snow. Or if it did snow, very rarely stuck, unless it was like mad snowy conditions. But yeah, here we had snow and it stuck, so I actually had snow in my backyard, which is nice. Yeah, not in a flat anymore. I'm in a little terraced house instead. So I've got my own house now. It is, it's dinky and it's old. Just 2 bedrooms, but I've got a loft, which I've been spending a lot of my time insulating because it wasn't insulated. I've had to do quite a bit, really. The carpets were minging, so I've taken up a load of carpets and put down some kind of wooden style flooring. It's not actually wood, it's like lino stuff. Much nicer underfoot than wood, in fairness. Excuse me, my cup of tea is going cold. I've had to do some internal wall insulation in the back side of the house because it's got a solid brick wall at the back which has no insulation whatsoever. I've got cavity wall insulation at the front, although how good it is I'm not entirely sure, because the house does get quite cold. It does get quite cold, but it is a lot more space than I am used to. So I was in a 1-bed flat, and that was a big step up from my previous flat, which was a studio flat. But now I have 2 bedrooms, which will come in handy because my mother and stepfather are returning from Australia next year, and until they find somewhere to live, they will be staying with me for a while. So it's not got a bed in it yet, and I need to decorate it. So that is on my to-do list, and that will need doing before they get back. So yeah, anyway, the crux of it is that I have been very busy. Work, as always, has been bonkers busy as well. Painfully so, actually. My role has kind of changed a little bit recently. So I'm doing more event type stuff. So I'm doing for example, tomorrow I'm doing a macro event. So I have this, which I'm going to be doing an unboxing of, which is the purpose of this video. I'm going to talk your ear off because I've got a lot to catch up on because I've not posted a video for so long. But I will be doing an unboxing of a brand new Sony 100mm GM lens, which just so happens to be an incredible macro lens. It's not even a 1:1 macro. It is a 1.4:1 macro. I can never work out which way round you do it. 1:1, 2:1, 1 to... Yeah, I think it's that way round. So it's more magnified than a 1:1 macro, basically. So what? I'll get into that soon. I'll finish my cup of tea, and then we'll do some unboxing and we'll talk specs, and I will tell you about the lens. But I was going to say I'm in York tomorrow, doing a macro event with this new lens, which I've not yet looked at because I've not unboxed it yet, as you can see. This is the purpose of the video. What else do you need to know? Yeah, that's gone cold. I made myself a pot of Earl Grey because I'm very British, and it makes three full cups of tea. So the first two were hot, and then I've had a little bit of a wait, and the third one, it was pretty cold. So just had a cold cup of Earl Grey, which isn't as nice as a hot cup of Earl Grey, I'll be honest. Yeah. So this is my bedroom. I don't know how much of it you can see, actually. Let me have a look on the thingy. A fair bit. I've got a snazzy light, which I bought. So yeah, there's another one over there which will probably come on at some point in the near future whilst I'm doing the video, because they're on timers. And I've got them set to fire, so they look like, well, as you can see, it's kind of a pulsating reddy orange colour, which is enough to see by, and it's red light instead of blue light, and as it's in my bedroom, I want redder lights instead of bluer lights, if that makes sense, because exposure to blue light makes us think it is daytime internally, whereas red light doesn't have quite the same effect, which is why your mobile phones and things have a warmer setting, so they can automatically turn on in the evenings and the screen looks warmer, less blue, slightly more kind of orangey, because it is easier on your eyes in the evening and makes it easier to fall asleep. Whereas if you've got full blue light on your screen before you go to bed, it makes it a little bit harder for your body to switch off, because it kind of thinks it's daytime. Yeah, so I've got those snazzy lights. I actually rearranged my bedroom this week, so this table was over there, and now I've moved it over here. I've got wardrobes to the right of me, and cats. That's Dee Dee there. You can't see much of her. She's having a bit of a snooze. Dexter, I don't know where Dexter is, but you will probably hear him at some point, because every now and then he gets a little bit lonely and comes to say hello, and is quite vocal about it until you give him a cuddle. If you don't give him a cuddle, he just whinges. So, oh, there he is. Oh, he's giving Dee Dee a clean. That's very kind of him. There you go. So they're my cats. They're adorable, Dexter and Dee Dee. They love each other, as you can see. They're brother and sister. They're gorgeous little things. I love them to bits. Wouldn't be without them. So, super sweet. I apologise as well. I probably look an absolute state, I'm afraid. I've been decorating all day today, so I'm covered in a bit of crap, really. I actually finished off the loft insulation today, which is a horrible job. Anyone that has ever done loft insulation will know it's all, you have to wear a mask like gloves and full body stuff, and you've got to try and find where the joists are so you don't fall through the ceiling. So you're like going between joists, and you've got some insulation down, so you've got to kind of feel where they are because you can't see. Pitch black up there as well. So I was trying to use my phone as a light, and it didn't work very well. But it didn't fall through the ceiling. I did get it all finished. It was filthy. I was covered in like these kind of fibres from the insulation. It's horrible stuff. So yeah, the second I finished, straight in the shower because you felt absolutely minging afterwards. But it's done. It is done and dusted. So hopefully I will lose less heat from my ceilings. Although I do have very high ceilings anyway, so not the best for heat conduction. Heat retention. Shall we get on with it? We've probably chatted on way too long. Most of you are not going to be here for the unboxing and the technical specs, I am aware. But I'm going to do it anyway. So, it's a beauty. So this is a f2.8 100mm macro lens. It is a G Master lens, which is our top banana lenses. These are the best lenses we do. It is, well, I mean, it's had rave reviews, so everyone that's actually used it so far seems to think it's superb. So I'm very much looking forward to giving it a go. You can use teleconverters with it, which is very cool. So you can change it from a 1.4 to 1 macro to a 2.8 to 1 macro, which basically means, so 1 to 1 macro is the image that you take is replicated at the same scale on the photo that you end up taking. Whereas on a normal photo, obviously the image is a lot smaller on the photo than it is in real life. With 1 to 1 macro, if you take an image of an ant, it will be, the photo will show it at the size of an ant. So 1 to 2 macro would be half that. So that would be a 50% size of an ant on your photo, for example. Most normal photos, I don't know what ratio they are, but they're less than that. So we have a dedicated, it's not a dedicated macro lens, but we have a lens, a 70 to 200mm f4 lens, which I love. It's really, really versatile. You can use it with a teleconverter, which can double the magnification. So it's a 1 to 2 macro, so normally 50%, but you can double it to make it a 1 to 1 macro, which is kind of cool. But it does drop it down to an f8, which significantly impacts the light coming through the through the lens. Excuse me. So unless you've got good lighting, you'll struggle to get a really, really good photo. This is an f2.8, so a much wider aperture, which means a lot more light is coming in to hit the sensor. So you need less light to get a good photo, basically. It also increases that beautiful kind of bokeh effect where the background kind of melts away. So at the minute I'm on an f4 lens, a wide angle f4 lens. f4 doesn't have quite the background separation that a 2.8 has, so if I was shooting on an f2.8 currently on my camera, the background would be much more kind of blurred out, if that makes sense. Yeah, so 2.8, really good for that too. You can use it with that 2x teleconverter as well, so you can double the magnification on it, and it would drop it down to a 5.6, an f5.6, which is still a darn sight better than an f8 onto the one. So yeah, useful. It's in Sony's standard black with a little flash of orange. I believe Sony's official colour is Cinnabar. I just call it orange. I like the McLaren Formula One team. Their papaya orange. I am a fan of orange. I always had a soft spot during World Cup years for the Dutch national team because they play in a very vibrant orange colour, and I think it looks really cool. This is the inside of the packaging. So, some instructions. A case specifically for the lens, which is nice. Quite minimalistic. So we'll take this out. Very minimalistic. So yeah, apart from the instructions here, a thick wad of instructions, which, as any good man would do, is going to get completely ignored. And the rest of it is just cardboard. So it's all very. I think it's gone quite heavy with their eco-friendly kind of drive. They are aiming for net zero by 2030, I believe. So the main kind of factory is where they make all the lenses and cameras and stuff. They're all kind of self-sustained with solar panels and water butts and all sorts. They're big on the sustain. I'm actually one of the sustainability ambassadors. I don't do as much as I should. This is going to be loud, so just heads up. But it's Velcro. Sorry about that. And some little zips. And places the lens. So we have a strap for the bag. So I've got two little hooks on the side of the bag here. The strap can attach to those. I never use these, but I do use these for storage of the lenses. And nice and padded. That was the lens hood. Sorry, that was quite loud. Made quite a loud sound on my bouncing off my laptop. That's the padded interior. Nothing particularly exciting to write home about there. Okay, so well, here's the lens hood. Just a little plain round hood. They used to clip into place that way, and you'd have to just click them out to take them off. But now they have a little button that you can press to clip them off, which is quite nice. Okay, again, on the sustainability side of things, this is kind of really nice, papery style packaging. So, not a plastic bag, which is nice. I do tend to keep these and use them because I've got these big kind of pelly cases, basically like a suitcase, designed for carrying cameras and lenses and stuff for work. And often I try to squeeze things in, so I have multiple lenses in one compartment. So I'll wrap them in these to try and protect them a little bit from getting scratched. Little Sony lens cap, and I need to focus on the lens and not me. Focus on the lens and not me. I should be shooting on a ZV-E1, really, or my ZV-E10. I don't know why I'm shooting on an A7 Mark IV, which is a phenomenally good camera. However, it doesn't have our product showcase special feature, which some of the kind of more video-centric cameras do have, which basically means that when you put something in front of the lens, the focus automatically goes to it, whereas this one will try and stay on me if it can. There's a lot to go through on here. So yes, you've got your lens cap. Again, please excuse me, my hands are probably filthy and covered in sealant and stuff. But there's the lens. You can look down. I wonder actually if you'll be able to see. So you can lock. So currently the iris is locked into auto, which means the camera body itself is going to be controlling the aperture. So I wonder if I click this out, I wonder if you'll be able to see the aperture. Moving. Let's have a look. I don't know if I'm trying to see whether you can or not. I'm not sure. Basically, me moving this should be opening up, widening and narrowing the aperture on the inside. It's a bit too dark. I think you need a really good light going down there to be able to see it. So yes, it ranges from f2.8. You can take it all the way up to f22. Why you would ever want to shoot an f22, I do not know. You've got full-time DMF, which basically means if you put that on, you can automatically override the focus, the autofocus, with manual focus. Now on a macro lens, that's really, really handy. This lens actually has an extra special feature, which means that you can click. It's very satisfying. Listen to this. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. So when that is clicked up, it's on autofocus. But you can, if you've got the full-time DMF on, you can adjust. And then if you click it down, it's full manual focus. So you can manually focus with this. A lot of the time, if you're shooting macro, you would have this set up on a tripod. And you would hope that your subject is not moving too much, so that you could use manual focus. Anyone who's used a Sony camera will know that the autofocus system is phenomenally good anyway. But with macro, sometimes you will want a different bit of whatever it is in focus. So you might be trying to highlight, I don't know, you might be trying to macro focus on a cat, but you want to take a photo of the cat's nose, whereas the autofocus will automatically go to the cat's eye, because that's what it thinks you want to be taking a photo of. So you would use the manual focus there to override it and pull out and get the nose instead if you really wanted a photo of a cat's nose, which is something I might try with these little sausages. They're knocking about, I can hear them making noises. Yeah, so that's a cool little feature. And this has a nice little click to it as well. So that's the aperture ring, going from f2.8 to f22 and then into auto. On the side here, you've got a few more switches. So one of them is your focus range. So it goes from, let's have a look, full, which basically means it will focus on whatever the camera, whatever the lens is capable of focusing on. So from the minimum focus distance, which on this is 0.26 meters, so 26 centimeters. This will focus. So if I was, what's 26 centimeters? About that far? About that far, maybe? Don't know. So you'd want to be about that far away from your subject. That's your minimum focusing distance. Full would allow you to go from that to whatever infinity, whatever focusing distance this will stretch out to. There is an infinity to 0.5 meter setting. Can you see it? I don't know. Which will refuse to focus on anything that's within half a meter there. So it goes from 0.5 to infinity. So if you're trying to take a photo of, say you're at some car races and you're behind a wire fence, you could take a photo of the cars coming round, but your camera's going to keep on trying to focus on the fence because the fence is right in front of you. So it's the more obvious subject. If you tell your camera, no, just focus on 0.5 to infinity, it will totally ignore the fence. So if the fence is within half a metre of you, it won't try and focus on that. It's too close. And then your third option is 0.26 to 0.7 meters. So that is your true macro, really. So if I'm using this as a proper macro lens and I want to be within, well, less than a meter, 0.7, 70 centimeters of my subject or closer, then this will prioritize whatever's closest. So if you've got a really obvious subject in the background, so say you've got a person in the background holding whatever it is you want to take a photo of, instead of the camera thinking, there's a person, let's go and focus on the person's eye, if they're a little bit further away and they're kind of holding out the thing you want to take a photo of, it will ignore the person if they're 0.7 meters away. But if they're holding out something which is then 0.6 meters away, you will focus on that instead. I don't know if I've explained that very well at all, to be honest, but I tried. I tried. You've also got OSS, which is our optical stabilization, optical steady shot, they call it, which means that, I mean, all our camera bodies have really good image stabilization these days, but some of the lenses, not many, but some of the lenses also have stabilization inbuilt, which means the glass bits inside this are stabilized as well. So if you're kind of wiggling a little bit, it will, if you've got it turned on, obviously, it will try and stabilize as best as possible. You can turn that off, obviously, if you're on a tripod, you don't need it. Or if you're kind of trying to wiggle around, so say you're trying to focus on a bee which isn't standing still, you might want to turn the stabilization off and just have a really fast shutter speed, because otherwise the stabilization might try and fight your little movements as you're trying to follow the bee. So turning it off would mean you can follow the bee without any stabilization trying to stop that happening. Again, I have no idea if I'm explaining these well or not, but I apologise if this makes absolutely no sense to you. If it does make some sense, happy days. Yeah, fingers crossed. And very usefully, the focus ring here will tell you as well. So it's got, 3 meters to infinity. And then it will tell you when you're focusing closer, and that would be focusing right up to 0.26. And it also tells you what magnification the macro level will be. So if you are focused there, you are looking at 4 to 1. 4 to 1 would be impressive, wow. 1.4 to 1 magnification. So if you're taking a photo of a bee, that bee will be 1.4 times as big on your photo as it is in real life. But then as you focus further away, that moves out. So if you want 1 to 1, that's around about there. If you want 1 to 2, that's about 0.36 meters, so about 36, 37 centimetres away, and then the further you focus away, you've got 1 to 10, and then if you're focusing there, it's kind of a standard photo, which will make me think that a standard photo maybe is 1 to 10. That's something I'm going to have to research, because I don't know the answer to that. So I'll try and find out. It will be a useful thing to know before my macro day tomorrow, because I am undoubtedly going to have people asking me those kind of questions. So it's nice to know the answers. So yeah, it's cool, isn't it? You can turn the click off so that this doesn't click. I personally like to have the click on, but depending on what you're taking photos of, you might want the click off so that it is silent. Because if you are trying to creep really close to a skittish subject like a jumping spider, I love jumping spiders. They are the cutest little spiders. They are adorable. So if you're trying to get really close to one of those, if you're doing that and it's making a noise, that might scare the subject. So you might want to put it on silent instead. But generally speaking, I like the click so that I know when I'm using it. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? And that's the orange Cinnabar coloured G for G Master. On the standard G lenses, that is a black G instead of an orange G. The previous macro lens we did, so we had a very popular dedicated 90mm macro lens, so similar focal range, 90mm instead of 100mm. So this one is a little bit closer in, and that's also a 2.8, incredibly good lens. A bit long in the tooth now, so it's an older lens, and on most cameras it's still incredible, but on kind of our latest cameras now with unbelievably quick autofocus and the new AI autofocus subject detection chips and all that kind of lark, you can kind of hear it hunting a little bit, because it's an older lens not designed to cope with the most modern and fastest autofocus. It does a fantastic job nonetheless, but it will be eclipsed by this considerably. There is of course a price difference between the two. This, I think, is retailing around about £13.99, so that's in pounds, so about £1,400. Work that out in dollars or whatever it is in your local currencies. Whereas I think the 90mm is 800 there or thereabouts, so considerably cheaper, and incredibly good for macro. But this one is definitely the piece de resistance. I have a cat trying to get onto my knee. Hi, are you going to come and say hello? Are you going to come and say hello? I don't know if she'll be able to make it up. I've actually got this seat as low as it will go, so that she can sit on my knee whilst I'm working. So this is where I've got my work laptop, and yeah, she kept on trying to get on my knee and couldn't quite fit because the table there wasn't enough room between my knee and the table. So I've lowered the seat so that she can just about fit on my knee, which she can. Here she is. Let's see if I can. I don't know if Hi, Dee Dee. You gonna say hello? Oh, she's a little sausage. I wonder if I put you close enough whether you'll be able to hear her. Can you hear the purring? She's got a lovely little purr on her. She's very she's like a little steam train, bless her. Well, that's me stuck. I'm not going to be able to go anywhere for a while now. Oh, and that's annoying. It's put the camera back at an angle. That's not too bad. It's not too bad. There we go. So, anyway, what do you reckon? Decent lens? I think it's got the DD seal of approval. So I'm going to try it tomorrow. I've got a bit of a macro setup to take with me. So I've got a slate, which is obviously a nice black background, and I think we're going to be putting kind of vibrant coloured spices on there, so paprika and stuff like that, to give it a bit of colour to look at. And we'll try and take some cool photos of that. I'm tempted to take with me a model or two, because I've got Games Workshop Warhammer models, which I've painstakingly painted over the years, and I think they're quite cool for macro photography. So I might take one or two of those with me. But the things like mushrooms and plants up close, wonderful. If we get snow again, snow and ice, up close will be fantastic. Wherever you look in nature, there will be something cool that you could take a photo of. This little putty tat here, I'm going to definitely be using the camera to take that lens to take some macro shots of these up close. See if I can get little eyes and little noses and little whiskers and ears and all their little paws, their little toe beans. That would make for a good macro shot, I think. So yeah. Anyway. Ooh, shall we see what it looks like with the lens hood on? Goes on there. Twists into position. Complete with the lens hood. And then press the little button. Comes off super easy, which is nice. The older ones used to be an absolute nightmare to take off sometimes. Kind of jam them on. I actually had a filter on a lens recently. So you get a filter which basically sits right on the front of the lens. It was a polarizer one, so it kind of negates kind of sun flare and reflections and stuff like that. So that was on anyway, and I put it on so hard that I couldn't get the flipping thing off because you screw it into the thread. That was really annoying. I actually had to buy a filter wrench specifically designed to take it off because it was stuck on so hard. Fortunately it worked, but I was in a camera store at the time when I was trying to get it off. I couldn't, and everyone was having a go, and no one could get the flipping thing off. Are you okay there? Are you comfy? Are you comfy? Look at the state of this. I can't do anything anymore in this house without getting attacked by little buddy tats. I really want to see whether you can hear. Let me. Can you hear? My little purr box. Oh dear, you're at a right old angle now. Anyway, here we go. I'll probably call it quits now. I'm going to have some DD cuddles, obviously. Where's Dexter? Dexter's all curled up behind us. Dexter's curled up in that bit. There. That will do. Look at my Christmas cactus. That there is a Christmas cactus, and they flower in the winter, hence the name Christmas cactus. He's gone absolutely berserk this year. Beautiful. Quite pleased. Quite pleased. So yeah. Anyway. Apologies for the cat interruption. The cat eruption, if you will. And apologies that I haven't been on for so long. But my camera's stuck now. I'm in Belfast later on this week. So I will try. You want tummy tickles now? Look at the state of this. Honestly. Yeah, I'm in Belfast this week. So I will be in a hotel. So I'll try and do a hotel room tour whilst I'm there. And I'm in Manchester tomorrow night after York. So I'm in York in the day. And then I'm in Manchester tomorrow night, I think in a hotel that I've not stayed in before. So I've got D&D in the evening with my friends. But if I wake up early enough in the morning, I will try and do... I will try and do a hotel room tour in the morning as well, but I'm not going to guarantee that one, because it very much depends on what time I wake up. So, yeah. I will try and do some more hotel room tours, because I've not done enough hotel room tours recently. I've been very, very, very negligent, and for that I can only apologise. Got out of the habit. What else am I going to be doing in the near future? Not sure. I'll try and do more hotel room tours anyway. Obviously, if Sony come out with any other new releases, I shall see if I can do unboxings or little reviews of those. And I should probably just do an entire video where all I'm doing is cuddling cats and listening to them purr. Because I find cat purring incredibly relaxing. Don't eat my fingers. Such a baby, honestly. Such a little baby. Look at the state of this. Look at the state of this little fatty. Oh, you can see my bin there, sorry. Look at this little fatty. Oh, Dee Dee. You are so silly. I need to empty that bin, it's so full. Look at the state of that. You can't roll over totally. You'll fall off my knee. You silly sausage. Ah, dear. Right, I have to try and manoeuvre this cat off my knee. I'm going to go and watch a little bit of TV before I go to bed. And then up early in the morning to go to York. I will see you again soon, hopefully. If you've made it this far, just listening to me inanely waffle on, then thank you. It's a pleasure having people that actually watch my ramblings. Yeah, if you've got any suggestions, any requests for future videos, give me a shout, pop a little comment on, and I will do what I can. And I should probably do the obligatory, which everyone on YouTube does. If you haven't already subscribed and you've made it this far through the video, please drop me a little subscribe. Ideally, a like would be nice. But frankly, with the ASMR videos that I watch, by the time you get to the end, I'm usually fast asleep. So I shan't hold it against you if you don't like and subscribe. Now, I've got a few ASMR artists that I listen to regularly, and they're very, very consistently good. So when I start listening to a video, I usually give them a little like and sometimes a little comment saying thank you right at the start, because I know full well that by the time I get to the end of the video, I'm going to be in the land of nod and totally unable to do any liking or subscribing. All I can do is take my headphones off before I fall asleep. So yeah, I lost my trusted Sony WH-1000 Mark IVs. I lost my headphones that go everywhere with me. I think I left them in a hotel room somewhere. Devastated. I've ordered a new pair from work. But they're not cheap, so I'm a little bit miffed really. But such is life. I can't live without my headphones. Right. On that note, oh my goodness, you are adorable, Didi. You truly, truly are beautiful. A little fat Hapeth. Yes, you are. You little fatty. Have a very nice evening. If you are asleep already, sweet dreams. If you're not, then I hope you get off to sleep very soon. God bless, and I will, fingers crossed, see you soon. Ta-ra.